Welcome to Sink Your Teeth In,
the show where we take a bite out of all things spooky.
so you can get your fill.
Welcome back, Little Omens. This is episode 16, and today we're going to be talking about children in horror.
The loss of innocence. But before we get started on today's episode, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel for more content to sink your teeth into. So, Danny, children in horror, what does that mean to you?
I think it's an extra layer of spooky because kids are supposed to be, these innocent figures, and it seems out of place that they would be in like such a scary environment, and like obviously there's like a protection aspect of it, or there's that like this is very wrong because this child should be this sweet thing and
Right.
it's not, and it's like a creepy demon. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what it is for me. What about you?
I went on a deep dive with the internet, and thanks to the evolution of children in horror films by Horror Movies Canada, they feel like there are three major categories. For me, it represents obviously the loss of innocence, but just like a vulnerability. I feel like as adults, you want to protect children.
Absolutely.
And you can't do that in horror. I feel like that's the driving force of it, and that's what makes it terrifying. But also the destruction of future. Like Whitney says, I believe the children are future. And it's just like that corruption of a child. I think that's like terrifying to adults.
Yeah.
So kicking off the three major categories. The first one, the silent witness. Characteristics of this, commonly used in a paranormal subgenre.
Spooky.
And the kid tends to be the quiet one, the shy one, the one that like knows something. They're mute. They speak in a very cryptic way.
Or they like talk to the furniture or something.
Yeah,
like
straight up.
Like, my friend Timmy right there.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So who would you put for silent witness?
You know who I would put is April Perrin.
Yes.
From The Conjuring.
Yeah.
She has the little friend, the little ghost boy, and she has the like where she sees him in that little carousel thing. Yeah.
First of all, why are you giving your child
No.
that type of, even if you found that,
no,
you have no sense to be like, this is terrifying.
No.
Not for you, baby.
Anything that's creepy, honestly, that's my thing though, is like when kids do shit that like is a little bit creepy, it just, that's enough for me not to have kids. Because I'm like, I couldn't be one of these people who like, because you have to, foster their interests and like, but
yes. No. Yeah, and also for me, I'm just like, creepy toys.
No.
You know what's weird about it? If I buy it, I don't have an issue with it.
But if you found it?
If I found it, or if it's like a resale type of thing, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Yeah, no. But that's like, I feel that way about a lot of,
like catch me at
household
Target.
items.
Like roll that shit through dirt and then like catch me at Target being like shaking off, like, look what I found you, baby.
Who's the person that first comes to mind in this category for you?
Most recent is Dalton Lambert.
Oh, from Insidious.
From Insidious, yes.
Yeah.
That, aside from that movie being terrifying, like, that is just the quintessential?
Yeah.
Category, like, representation of this category for me. Just because, like, they're after him. That's one of the things that, like, I like about it, is also it's just, like, he's not being ployed. Like, he's not being used as, like, a plaything. Whereas they're like, no, I'm coming for your body.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's kind of crazy, too, because if you look at the evolution of the Insidious, he's like the main character, but he's not, like, participating
right.
in a traditional, like, oh, he's like doing weird things.
Right.
No, like things are just happening around him, but he's like in this place.
Yeah.
That's like a really interesting play on that too.
Yeah, definitely. He, like, you attract spirits, you know that you can basically astral project, and it's just...
It's a spooky.
It's the spooky. It's the silent witness.
Well, the thing is too, I mean, they don't know what's happening the whole movie. Like,
Right.
he's just in a coma. They don't know what's happening to him. He's not responsive. Even, like, they're getting these signs, but he's literally silent in, like, so many, like, ways.
Yeah.
But it's still, like, all these things happening. It's so
Right.
crazy.
Because, like, you're in a coma, and then all these things are happening, and everyone else is experiencing it, and he is still the focal point, and it's like, this is terrifying because this is my child.
And they want to protect him. Like,
Exactly.
at the end of the day, like, that's, but it's like, how do you even...
Right.
What do you even do?
What are you even protecting?
Especially because, like, the mom hid all of this from the dad, so he doesn't even know, like, oh, I'm a part of this. And, like,
Yeah.
this whole thing. So it's like so many questions. You're like, literally, how do I help?
It's so layered.
Even in like a regular, not astral projection, like horror, when it's like a demon or whatever. What do you do?
Right.
What do you do?
Right.
What do you do? Like,
what do
you can call a priest. Like, I mean, Annabelle. Like they called the priest, but like the priest couldn't help. Like,
right.
What do you do? So that's like especially spooky because it's like, how do you even, especially with someone who's not like communicating normally.
Right.
Like little kids, they might not understand how to communicate that because like obviously even adults can't sometimes communicate. Oh, this is a weird thing that like I don't even know what to put a name on that.
Right.
So it's like,
well, it also goes back to that fear of like, you fear what you don't understand.
yeah.
And when something like this of paranormal, because it's such a broad of like, you have people who don't believe that, you have people who do believe that, and usually in these type of movies, it's where it's happening to the women and the children, and the men are the ignorant ones, to where they're like, that's not happening, it's an old house, and then like, well, their child is flying across the fucking room.
What you doing over there?
They're like, I said no playing around.
No, the thing is too, is I think why kids in real life may experience things more, or like they have the imaginary friends, and I'm more open to like being like, that might be fucking real, because I think kids don't have as many prejudices isn't the right word, but they don't have as many blocks. They're more like accepting and open, and like everything's new to you, so you're like, oh, this is like whatever, like playing is real, and like these things are real to you, so they're more vulnerable in that sense, but they also like might accept things and not realize, oh, this is weird. That too.
Well, that is a great segue into our second major role. The creepy little kid.
All of them.
Well, so characteristics of this are listed as of the dead. So you have children who are dead or look like they're dead.
Like a Victorian ghosty.
That, the sunken eyes, pale skin, like think Samara, is that it? Samara from The Ring. The child from The Grudge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the point of like, is this child dead and just walking the earth? Am I seeing a ghost right now? So there's those characteristics. Odd clothing, also, like old-timey, very Victorian.
Samara's like drenched everywhere she goes.
That too. Water everywhere. Girl, grab a mop.
No, for real. I'd be so mad.
And
like, I don't care what's going on. Clean up.
Also, I put Amish as an example. It just feels very old-timey.
Yeah,
to be like, you know what I mean? Like, if I saw an Amish child who had like sunken eyes and a little bit pale, I would be like, that's a dead child.
Like, is that like Children of the Corn? I've never seen
it. Kind of like Children of the Corn.
Okay.
Yeah. And then lastly, just like creepy, where they're very silent. They appear behind you suddenly, and yeah, the type where you're like.
So a good example of this category is actually going to be Damien from The Omen. I mean, that's kind of an older franchise, so maybe not everyone knows about it. He's basically ends up being the Antichrist, I think. Yeah, and so he's like, all these weird things happen around him growing up. He like, people die around him.
He gets his nun to...
Yeah, like, there's very odd things happening, and I think his parents
He tries to off his mother.
Well, like, but they still try to protect him, right?
Yes.
Like, because they don't, you know. Obviously, no one ever wants to think that, like, their kid is some, like, you know, that would be, like, a terrible thing, but kids be doing creepy ass shit.
In this household, we would celebrate that.
No.
I'd be like, what does your child do, Karen?
No, I think kids accidentally do creepy shit sometimes. One of my godkids, he was like bringing me to his room and he was like pointing at the closet and it was dark in there. I was like, nope, we're going back downstairs.
Girl.
But he's like wanting me to read his books to him. Like, you know what I mean? They don't know. But I was just like, I've seen enough movies. We're not probably doing that. But like there are some, I don't know whether that's like an ethical question I can answer, but there are some kids who might have a little harder of a time when they like give these, I can't remember what the psychological thing was.
Well, I feel like also like that's like there are children who you just know when you see them at like 4 or 5, like you're gonna be a little goth kid. And that's so sad because like when you think of children, like a lot of people think like colorful, playful, sweet, innocent, and there are just some kids who are like, nah, that's not me, homie. Like,
yeah, I mean everyone's different.
Yeah.
Like, and kids, you know, like you have to give them space to express themselves. However, because things might manifest in different ways, like your expression and whatever. But obviously, like if there's a lot of things that are happening around you that are like a little spooky, kooky, like.
And then your child's picking up on that?
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Super scary.
For me, it's Esther from The Orphan. Because, first of all, what a gag. What a gag.
Yeah, honestly, it's kind of iconic.
Right? I do like the second one more than the original.
Oh my god, yeah, we just watched it.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it yet, and I was like, what a twist. It was not a cash grab.
Right? Straight up. Like, I can see where the first one gets its roses.
Oh, absolutely. Like, it's...
And your fave's in there.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know, and I was like... Because I actually hadn't seen the first one either till this year. But I knew about the ending scene, and I had seen the ending scene before, and it's so iconic.
Yeah. But it is sad that, like... But that's what I kind of love about horror, is the impact that it has on the world. And I know that's like for most of pop culture, but like specifically related to horror, because when The Orphan came out, it affected how adoption...
Oh.
Yeah, like people were like, no, what if I get The Orphan? Like, come on, really?
Like, yes, that is a 40-year-old woman.
Yeah.
That was like a real thing though. Like, that case was a real case.
It
so
was.
like...
So...
We were talking about adoption.
We were talking about adoption. It's just... I love that about, one, pop culture, but two, like, specifically to horror, that it would impact people. Because, like, that's how you know you made a good movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, aside from the horrors of real life and how terrible you would think that could actually happen to you.
Yeah.
Which, I kind of see both sides of things, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things where you're just like, it probably won't happen to me, but it could happen to me, and therefore...
Well, I think if you're not prepared for difficulties, you know, with kids, then you probably shouldn't have them.
True.
I mean,
I would have came there and I would have like snatched off those little ribbons and been like, what are we doing here?
No, it being like a 40-year-old woman is probably like a little bit more than a difficulty, but like, I don't think that's like the norm.
Right. But I do like that corruption of innocence to where it's like, you feel like you're doing the right thing. You're helping an innocent child who was in a bad situation, and you have the ability to give them a better life.
Yeah, because they both had like real nice houses.
Yeah.
Some money.
But then for that to be like, oh, guess what? I'm playing you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing though with the creepy kid is like you want them to lose, but at the same time it's a kid, you know, so it's like
I think it also goes into the fact of like, you're seeing, like, it's so numbing to see that in an adult. And when you see that in a child, you're like, why? Who's that for? What's that about? So that's the creepy little kid.
So on to the final category, the unvictim.
Yes, ma'am. The unvictim has characteristics of never getting killed off.
You're just a hater.
Or they survive. They tend to be a key focal point in the story, like the chosen one, or the key of some source that relates to the story, and a driving force for the protagonist. So
Okay.
usually if it's a parent's child, it will keep the parent fighting for the child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So who is your unvictim?
So who comes to mind is the kids from A Quiet Place. I love that movie. I didn't realize, like, I knew quiet is in the movie. I didn't know it was gonna be completely silent, so I was like eating my chips or my popcorn, and it was a rough time. But I really love that movie because you just feel like how much everything is for the kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Girl, that opening scene though, with the fire truck.
Yeah.
That I was like, But then that happened, and I was like, ooh.
Wait, what?
The fire truck, like, it has batteries, and it's like woo woo woo, and they're trying to run back to the little kid, and then whatever the monster takes, and like. I wasn't psyched for A Quiet Place, and then that opening scene happened. I love a good murder in an opening scene.
You're stupid.
No, it's true. Like, I know it's like, whether it's an adult or a child, I love a good opening murder scene.
Okay. Well, I mean, other than that kid, because he literally did die. The other two children, because, like, they're, you know, getting chased by this thing, and the dad knows that, like, they're not gonna make it unless he sacrifices himself, and it's
Sacrifice himself.
it's John Krasinski,
Yes.
who we love, and he like sits there and he like yells so that the thing, and it's so beautiful,
Yeah.
and like I cry every time I watch it because it's like so, you know, him and the daughter are not getting along because of what happened to the kid, and there's tension, and he's like, I love you, like, you know, I'm gonna do this, and it's so beautiful. So that's who came to mind when we were talking about this immediately.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's yours?
Mine would have to be Morgan and Bo Hess from Signs.
Oh,
Yeah. Like, I like how they have that creepy kid element, but yeah, I just want to watch the world burn. So the fact that, like,
he's in his Joker era.
Yeah, straight up. They great acting. I'm not taking anything away from it. But watching it now, as a child, I was terrified because it's like you're watching an alien movie, and
I watched it
we
a couple
all
months
know
ago.
we all know that scene.
It was nuts. It was very funny to watch.
But the little girl with the water, girl, we're not even all that water, all those glasses of water. I get how it got set up,
Yeah.
but the thing of it is, like, you got all that water, you got this ominous child. They've got cornfield, and they're just like, "Hey, we're gonna go play."
Kids are weird though. Like,
I
they just be doing
get
shit
that,
like
but you know what? Like, as good as that movie is for the time that it served, if they didn't survive, if they weren't the unvictim,
it would serve no purpose in the story for them to die.
well, I mean, it kind of was like, oh, we don't know how to end this. Guess the aliens realize that they can't stand water. Bye.
To the planet that's 97% water.
Yeah, so
70%? I don't fucking know.
who
Whatever.
knows? But it's just that category is not for me. I am here to watch a horror movie. I am here to be horrified. I am here to be disgusted, traumatized, and then you survive?
You're a weirdo.
No, because I don't need a safety blanket. I'm not watching this to be safe.
I like a happy ending. Fuck
I don't.
You.
I don't. Watch a drama. Watch a thriller.
No, I don't like dramas.
Why?
Because they don't have happy endings. It's always some bullshit. I don't need the sadness of life. I want to go watch something and feel good. My life is sad!
You want to get scared, and then you want to be like, oh, but it all ended well.
Yeah.
See, I'm always rooting for the villain.
It depends on the villain. If it's someone who's wrong, sure. I'm not rooting for a fucking demon on an unsuspecting home in the boonies. Like, girl, leave people alone. Life is hard.
I've yet to see it. I've yet to see something to where the protagonist is where I'm like, yeah, you should have survived.
Because you don't like people.
Well.
And I have empathy towards humans, and you don't.
Vinegar, salt. That's not right.
No, it's
vinegar
and water.
Oh, water? I was gonna say oil.
It's oil and water. Or vinegar and water.
Oh.
And I would do the water. You salt. At the end of the day, like, you want the kids to be fine. It's like psycho.
Well, I don't want children specifically.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I like my takeaway is like, granted, we're focusing on children in horror, but for like a broad aspect, I'm happy with anyone.
Aside from your personal feelings, like, I think the kids being the motivator is very relatable because, like, especially, you know, one of my god kids that I love so much, like, I would literally do anything to protect them. There's like nothing in the world that I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Even against people like their parents.
Right.
That's not even like something that would happen. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
No.
if they were possessed.
Yeah.
Like, it's the kids. Like, you need to protect the kids. So it's very relatable. Like, you would not, even kids that I don't know, they'll protect the kids.
Okay.
Stop it.
You have your points, I have mine.
I'm talking about real life though, like why it's
Sure.
relatable.
Yeah, I'm not, I can guarantee you, and if I was put in that situation, I would help a child.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I wouldn't help a child. I would obviously help a child.
You're saying it a lot, which is not making me believe you.
I would help a child, and
Us in the court hearing, I would help a child.
Listen, I believe the children are our future. What are your final thoughts on children in horror?
I think that it's a great genre. I think that, or subgenre of horror, I think that it can be used as a tool of relatability, but also harnessing that like loss of innocence and things that are supposed to be pure that aren't is very, if used correctly. Because
Yes.
sometimes like it's very like, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, whatever. But I think if used correctly, it's a really, really good tool in horror.
Yes.
I think it's an easy route for some movies,
Mhm.
but I think like some of the examples that we talked about, it's a fresh, like, it's a really good tool to like keep the movie flowing and give you a sense of like, I'm rooting for these characters and like I feel that same protection and like I feel very invested in the movie.
Yeah, I do think children in horror is always an interesting topic. It's always going to be something that people will want to watch, regardless of your reasons for it. I like it because it's always the corruption of innocence, and I'm all for that. But also there's so much more to talk about just in these three major roles that we talked of. There's like Antichrist, devil children, possessed children. So it is a deep topic.
No, but I get what you're saying, because like even we didn't really talk anything about this, and it's not something that I probably ever will broach as a subject because I just don't like that. But like parents or guardians using kids as a tool to like help them perpetrate that. Like I don't have a movie in mind, but I'm just thinking of like a serial killer or something, like using their kid as like a ruse or something like that. Like, that's also something, and it's like they're not like a willing participant or whatever. There's a lot of things like with children in horror to be explored.
Yeah, I think it opens up a lot of themes. I think it opens up a lot of conversations to have. I think there's a lot of ways that you can explore trauma with it.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, it's a great genre.
Yeah.
Thank you, Horror Movies Canada, for bringing our topic of discussion for today.
We hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. We had fun making it and kind of talking. We hope to, in the future, have more conversations about specific subsets in horror.
Yeah.
We've talked about, since the very, very beginning of Sink Your Teeth In, about old people in horror, because like that's very spooky to us too. So yeah, I mean, if you guys like this, let us know.
So be sure to comment your choice of your favorite children in horror. Do you agree with our subgenres, our major roles? Let us know in the comments. Get the conversation started. But before you go, be sure to follow us on all our socials, linked here.
And remember, little omens,
stay spooky.
I'm not putting that in. Babe, you can't put that shit in. You can't wish death on people. I know we're talking about fiction. I don't know. I'll have to see when we watch it back.
It was just,
You're crazy.
Yeah.
She's in a silly, goofy mood.